want to thank every single one of you for being here today. I know you could be out there doing something else, but you chose to be here today, and you chose to honor public employees. I've had the good fortune of having been a public employee my entire life. And I will tell you right now, there are no harder working, more dedicated, more honest, more decent, more caring people working in any area whatsoever than public employees. We have gone from enforcing laws which we don't set, servicing people where we don't make the decisions. We've gone from having to explain to the average citizen what it's like to have to enforce a law that you may not even agree with. But what's happening now is unforgivable. And that is, we're being threatened, we're being screamed at, we're being spat on, we're being yelled at. We don't pass these laws, but we enforce the laws of our society and our government. And so therefore, they take it out on us when they ought to go out there and argue with the legislators. They take it out on us when they ought to go out there and argue with the administrators. And so to be a public employee is very, very special. I, for one, have had the absolute most wonderful, fortunate, good luck to have been a public employee my entire life. And I don't think that there is any greater pride that anybody can take than to say, I'm a public employee. It happens that we honor a lot of people in our society. It happens that most of them might deserve it, some of them don't. But I've always wondered, how come public employees don't get the credit that they deserve? So being the president and having the most wonderful officers and people behind me make my job easy. I said, we should honor public employees. And that's all I had to say, and they just took over and ran the whole thing. And that's exactly what we are doing. There's one thing that a lot of people don't do, and that is that they don't appreciate those who go out there and say, I'm in charge, but I am going to represent the working families of America. I am going to make things better. You know, doctors say do no harm, but I think that should apply to all administrators. And unfortunately, in our society, we have a person who has gone out there and did everything wonderful, everything good. But at one particular event, when he wasn't on top of his, health, or maybe he had been making maybe 2 phone calls about getting somebody back to the United States, he just was a little bit off his game, and all hell broke loose. Media did not concentrate on how his opponent behaved. Media did not say this man told 1,000 lies. They concentrated on Biden just being a little bit off his game. That's okay, because God teaches us all good things happen. And so now we have Kamala running for president, and she will be our next president. But there's one thing that we as public employees need to do. We need to recognize the person who has spent his entire life being a public employee, the person who has never done any harm, has only done good, and he deserves all the credit this country can give him. If you have not signed the card that's over there, not signed a card that wishes from us to President Biden, please do. Because your card will be given to our international over in California when we have our convention, and it will be hand-delivered to the White House. So please sign that card. We have space for everybody, but that means you sign your name in one comment, and that's wonderful, because public employees deserve, and they should get the thanks that they deserve. So, our first honoree and I don't need to say anything more about him because we all know about Katie, yes.
Brother, you spoke quite a while this afternoon without saying one thing you always say at our meetings.
Go ahead.
And I want you to make it complete. Please say Detroit.
I'm going to tell you something. Detroit is the place where they have always respected labor, they have always respected unions, they have always respected working families, and frankly, if there's anything going on in Michigan now that you don't like, just remember I'm not there anymore. So I hope that we're going to be having this event from here till eternity, and it will be easy because we're going to find the brightest and the best and the ones who have never been honored when they should have been, and we're going to give them that honor. We're going to start with the President of the United States. That card that you have there and the memento that we're giving him will be taken to the White House, so you're making history too. And with that, we'll go on with the program.
Thank you, brother.
I think so. Dick, you got to go over the hills. Take over now.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. We're going to continue on with the program as written. If you have a copy of it, if not, ask your neighbor for one. We're going to bring to the podium at this time the Vice President of the AFSCME Retirees Chapter 97, Sister Louisa Pedraza.
Well, rowing is hard to follow. I'll tell you that right now. It is my pleasure and my honor to introduce Senator Leila Alston. She's not here with us today, but we want to make sure that she is still honored among us. Throughout her 32-year career at the Arizona Legislature, Senator Alston has championed workers, public schools, teachers, children, and families, protecting women's health and reproductive choices, advancing opportunities for women, girls, aging Arizonans, our homeless and underrepresented communities. She has received numerous awards and even has a school named after her. We congratulate Senator Alston on her stellar career and wish her continued success. And with that, we will accept her honor on her behalf.
Thank you, sister. We will make sure that that gets delivered to her office or to her home, wherever, whatever we have to do to get it there. I need to pause for just a moment. You know, the trouble with honoring folks, and we should, is that invariably you leave someone out, and that's not good. So for each and every one of you sitting here today, for those of you that have family members and brothers and sisters in the workplace, just know from the bottom of my heart, we appreciate everything you do. For every mile you walk, for every door you open, for every prayer you say for someone else, we appreciate it. And it's a small turnout today, but it can grow. And again, I just want you to know that just because we don't hand you a plaque or hand you a certificate or something that we don't appreciate, we do. So enough said about that. Now I have to ask you a question. Those of you that know Art Hamilton, I see Steve waving his hand back there vigorously. Ron Williams over here is raising his hand. My job was to introduce Art Hamilton. He sends his regrets. He got stuck in a meeting on the west side. He sends his love and his appreciation, and more than anything else, his respect. He will not be here, but I will accept this award on Art's, or this gift, or whatever you want to call it, on Art's behalf. And I'll make sure he gets it. And his comment was, Ted, I owe you one. And if you know Ted, I will collect. I will collect.
That's right.
And when I do, it will be on behalf of AFSCME Chapter 97 retirees. So, thank you, Art Hamilton, for everything you've done and everything you're doing. At this point in time, I would like to bring to the microphone a new friend. I was introduced to him by, over the phone by Luisa, who drives it. Rockio. I just met him today. His comment was, Art Hamilton is my mentor. I was having trouble getting hold of Art, and made a phone call, and well, let me just introduce to you Air Force veteran, Veterans Hall of Fame member, businessman, family man, community activist, candidate for city council in Mesa. My new friend,
Thank you so much, Ted, for that introduction. I am so honored to be here to say a few words about Sandra Kennedy and introduce her. Years ago, about 35 years ago, I met a gentleman that I was doing a lot of work. I was just getting out of the Air Force out of the Desert Storm, and was doing a lot of volunteer work running these community organizations for kids and disadvantaged kids. And this is why I had to make a note of what he said to me. He said to me, Ron, he said, it goes against the competitive nature of the human spirit to hope other people win. And this is what he said to me. He said, you're weird. And I said, okay, I'll be weird. And I guess Sandra Kennedy's one of those weird people too, because she likes to see people win. And so, my honor to introduce Sandra. First, let me just say, Sandra Kennedy texted me on the way over here. She was just taking her husband to the hospital. And she just texted me now and said that he's still there. They're waiting to get some news on what's going on with him. I said, let me know. I will accept the award on your behalf, and I will bring it to her at the hospital. But if you don't know Sandra Kennedy, I'll just share these few words, because she didn't want a long introduction. House of Representatives, Phoenix Union Governing Board, Arizona State Senator, Arizona Corporation Commission, and a servant of the people, and always my senator, Senator Kennedy. So let's just acknowledge her in her absence, and I will accept her behalf. Thank you.
a gifted speaker like that, Brother Chairman, we need to get him on the radio show.
Absolutely.
Do you want the podium or? Oh, okay. Can't get him away from the microphone. We know how that works. Maybe we just skip it. There's this guy, Steve Garrett. Oh, I see. Many, many years ago. Anyway, this again, you have met Roman Allman, and he's going to introduce to you, for those that really needs no introduction, but Roman, come up and tell us what we need to know about Steve Garrett, Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
Well, Master Sergeant, let me do this for Danny. When I came here and moved here from Detroit, the rules in Michigan are different. You know, when you're running for public office or you're helping somebody who's running for public office, I knew all the rules in Michigan. I didn't know anything about Arizona rules. So somehow or another I got involved with politics, and I had to recruit candidates and get other people into place, but I couldn't tell them what they had to do. So I went down to the county offices, and I'm trying to get some answers, and I wasn't doing that great, so finally somebody else came out to talk to me. And he told me how to fill out certain forms and what had to be on certain forms, and explained it to me so that I could understand it. And that somebody else was Steve Gallardo. And he was working in the county, or was it the state commission, and I found out he was a Democrat, so that made me feel a lot more at ease, you know, and he took the time to be what a public employee is. He took the time to explain to me, he took the time to show me how to fill these things out properly. He sat there and frankly, some people might say he wasted his time, but to me, it was not a waste of time because I was getting an education. And Steve Gallardo sort of became my mentor whenever I had a question about anything that had to do with paperwork or filing or forms or whatever. That's who I would call. And over time, not only did he leave that particular office, but he ran for state government in the legislature. And whenever I wanted to know something about the state legislature, and I was working for the state of Arizona, AFSCME political department, I would call him up. And as a matter of fact, we had rallies and we had events when they saw the working people getting together to have a rally. There were snipers on the roof. And then the head of the snipers came down to me and he said, well, I'm glad you kept Steve Gallardo in check from getting the people too excited. I said, what are you talking about? He's a public employee. We don't incite riots. We quell them, you know. And he said, well, this was the most orderly event we've had down here. You weren't screaming, you were just talking. And I says, that's Steve. He told me how to run these meetings, you know. And I will tell you, anytime working people or ask me, anybody who needs information about elections, that's the go-to person. And in addition to that, I can say with pride, Steve has been and is an AFSCME member, and he deserves this credit because he's always been a public employee.
Thank you, brother.
Say a few words to us.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Brother Allman. Brothers and sisters, thank you so much for this honor. You talked about at the very beginning, how isn't it wonderful to be in a house of labor here, a home that we all call. It is. It is definitely a home. We feel welcome. We know that the hard-working men and women that serve in this building are working hard every day to ensure that public employees across the state of Arizona are represented collectively, and the rights of workers are protected. And that's what these gentlemen and many of the ladies, that's what they do every day. So thank you so much for everything you do. Roman talked about my days in elections back, like early 90s or so. I think I started in 88, but I think it was probably like 92 or so that I met Roman. And yeah, I mean, he was describing me, but he was describing just thousands of hardworking public employees across this great community we have in the cities, the county, and the state level that do their job every day. And they do it with pride, they do it with dignity, they service the public, they service the people. And yeah, I was just doing my job. But it was an honor to be able to be a county employee and to be able to serve the people of Maricopa County. It was just shortly after that a young man by the name of Ray Valenzuela came to me, and we were talking, and they were working to organize the county employee. And would you be willing to sign? And so definitely. So he signed up to be a member of AFSCME back, oh man, it had to be the early 90s. I think I was the only employee at the time in the Maricopa County Elections Department that was a dues-paying member of AFSCME. But folks like Ray Valenzuela and David Mendoza, they worked so hard to organize the county employees and get them familiar with the importance of being represented collectively. My hat goes off to them. But I can tell you this, folks, and we have an opportunity this election. We have an opportunity to be able to elect 2 new members to the Board of Supervisors. Both Danny Valenzuela running in District 3 and Joel Navarro running in District 1. Both firefighters. So you know I'm calling the firefighters. Now you guys have to get involved. These are your members here. You got to help us get them elected. But I promise you all this, and I'll give you this promise today, that at the end of this November election, when we elect these 2 new members to the Board of Supervisors, these are dues-paying members to firefighters. As of today, I am dues-paying member of AFSCME 2960. I can tell you one of the first things we're going to do is open up the doors for our employees to be represented collectively. This is something that could have been done back in the early 90s. We're going to do it in 2025. But it takes getting the right people elected. We all know that. We're all political folks here. We've been involved in campaigns. We've been involved in electing good people. But this year is a little different. I'm sorry if I get too much time here, but I'm going to talk about this because it's so important. This year's a lot different. We all know. A lot at stake. We've seen what happened in 2020 as these election deniers continue to push these conspiracies and false statements undermining our democracy. We saw them in 2020. We saw what they did on January 6th. We saw the rhetoric and the push they put out in 2022 when Governor Hobbs was elected. We saw it. And we're going to probably see it again this year. We see many of these far-right extreme MAGA folks being elected in many primaries. Yep. We have an opportunity to elect a good Democrat to the county recorder's office. And if we don't work hard together, and that's everyone coming together, these MAGA extremists that continue to undermine our elections, continue to want to spread lies and conspiracies about elections, will be in charge. We cannot allow that to happen. We have a candidate, Tim Stringham. He is working very hard. I was told he was just at the county party on the phone, making phone calls. We need to do our part in making sure he gets elected, and he is our county recorder come his November election. We have a sheriff candidate, Tyler Kemp. We got to make sure he is elected as our sheriff. These are critical races. They are up and down the ballot. Yes, don't get me wrong. We have a congressional candidate you're going to hear from in a few minutes. This is a nail biter, but at the end of the day, I think we're going to be celebrating, Raquel. But nonetheless, we have an opportunity this election to elect good, strong people to public office that want to represent the people that they serve. Let it be the city council level, the county level, the state level. Yes, we want to deliver our electoral college votes to Vice President Harris. We want to make sure that Congressman Ruben Gallego is our next U.S. Senator. We want to make sure we flip the Arizona State Legislature and erase all that bad policy that we see that attacks public public employees and their right to be represented. The attack on labor. These are the steps these are the things that are in front of us this election cycle. But we go further down that ballot, folks. We have our county races, as I just talked about. Let's elect good Democrats up and down the ballot that are going to stand up with labor, stand up to those that want to undermine these hardworking individuals. Those folks that want to undermine our democracy, we're going to push back, ensure we have elected folks up and down the ballot. And we do have propositions as well. I don't want to get into all of them, but we know which ones that we want to make sure are passed and which ones do fail. We're going to work together, folks. But it's upon us to do our job this election cycle. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for these honors. Always thank you so much. Thank you, brother.
Now you know why I understood him. We spoke the same language.
I don't know about you folks, but I'm standing back here wishing Steve would tell me how he really feels. Wow. I'm gonna get fired up pretty quick, brother. Yeah. What's the old saying? Fired up? Fired up? Yes! Can't hear you. Repeat after me. Fired up?
Yes!
No. Repeat after me. Fired up?
Ready
Ready to go.
Can't take no more.
Can't take no more.
Won't take no more.
Won't take no more.
Fired up?
Fired up.
Can't take no more.
Can't take no more.
Won't take no more.
Won't take no more.
I want to correct what the supervisor said, though, if I could be so bold. He said our democracy is trying to be undermined. I don't believe that. I believe they're out to absolutely destroy our democracy. And I can't make it any plainer than that, folks. I don't hold an elected office like he does. I haven't walked the miles he has, but I've been a political hack since the sheriff's race in DeKalb County, Illinois. And I'm telling you, they are here to destroy our democracy. If you read the 400-page 2025, I haven't. I have no intention of reading it. You just look at them and you know. You listen to them, they open their mouth, they're lying. Anyway, that's not my job. I'm supposed to introduce folks. That was Steve. Let me now call to the podium the recording secretary of the Arizona Retirees Chapter 97, our sister, Sandy Chismore. What's the court, sister?
Thank you, Brother Ted. You're a hard act to follow, just like Roman is a hard act to do. When I first heard about the name of this event, PETE, I thought maybe it stood for something that we're all aware of. You know, PEAT, Phoenix equals awful temperatures. But I'm really glad that I was mistaken about my screwball definition, and I'm very proud to be part of the true PETE, the Public Employees Appreciation Tribute. It is also with pride and respect that I have the opportunity to introduce one of our honorees. The Honorable Rebecca Rios is a fourth-generation Arizonan and comes from a family that instilled in her at a very young age the concept that you stand up for what is just and right, even in the face of adversity. And as you know, we've all had it in many different forms. You don't get to go through life without running into a few brick walls, and she's had hers, but she's managed to get over them. She learned her lesson very well. Rebecca has made it her life's work to serve the people whose voices are not always heard. First as a social worker, very early in her career, and then inside the political arena as a member of both the Arizona House of Representatives and the Senate over the course of 29 years. She is currently continuing this mentality of service by being a Justice of the Peace at the South Mountain Precinct. Early on, Rebecca also demonstrated her deep roots by being a hometown scholar. She received both her bachelor's and her master's degrees in social work from ASU. And let's face it, this major that she chose probably helped her stay sane during her 29 years in the state government. Over the course of her career, Rebecca's political beliefs and votes have supported ideals that help people like you and me. Her work has encompassed things such as advocating for abortion rights and postpartum care, expanding children's nutrition and health care programs, and establishing an Alzheimer Advisory Council to better understand its effects and treatment. She opposed bills to eliminate early voting, thus making it harder for seniors and others to vote, putting additional restrictions on abortion rules, and letting the legislature certify election results. And I can agree with Rebecca's quote at that time when this bill first came forward. That's a pretty scary thought. Let them be in charge of anything. Rebecca has gone to the mat countless times to uphold standards that we hold dear and has fought tirelessly for Arizona working families. It is for that long history of dedication and service that AFSCME's Retiree Chapter 97 chose you, Rebecca, as an honoree for the Public Employees.
Thank you, Sandy. That's a very nice introduction. So I kid you not, whenever Steve is on the agenda to speak anywhere, I always go to the person right before him, and I'm like, oh, you never want to follow Steve. I walked in here, I looked at the lineup, and I'm like, damn it. Sure enough, I mean, Steve is fire and brimstone. He gets the message across. He gets people fired up. I'm going to be the layer in between him and the woman that does the same thing. In all sincerity, I want to say thank you for this honor today. It's nice to see old friends that literally I met about 30 years ago. And for those of you that know me, I grew up in a small copper mining town, and were it not for the local unions, steel workers and others literally knocking on doors, getting me into office, I never would have had that legislative career that spanned decades. But while I was at the legislature, you all were doing the work, right? Ensuring that workers have good wages and good benefits and a retirement that they can count on. And I don't need to tell you, the fight continues, right? No matter how far ahead we get, the fight continues, because unfortunately there have always been those people and elected officials that would like to erase those gains, that would like to eliminate pensions, that would like to do away with Social Security. And so the fight today remains as crucial as it has all along. Thank you for continuing the fight as AFSCME retirees. I've sensed, and so I was looking online because I got this sense that there was a renewed interest of sorts in unions. And sure enough, there are a couple of reports out there that show that there are in fact a lot more people interested in unions and approving of unions. One of the articles said that they had not seen union approval rates this high since 1965. That is largely attributable to Generation Z, right? These are the young folks under the age of 30 that are disillusioned with their jobs, with jobs that don't provide benefits and good wages and forget pensions. So I say that because it is a ray of hope for all of us. It is the call for us to continue to do the outreach and the education to get these young folks to join a union, to recognize the importance of unions, and to bring back unions 100% strong. And so today, again, I sincerely thank you for the award. And when I say sincere, I really mean it. When we're in the legislature, you get a lot of awards and people want to acknowledge you, but nothing feels as genuine as when you've already been gone, no one calls you anymore, your phone doesn't ring, nobody really cares what you have to say anymore because it's out with the old, in with the new. And so when Ted called and said, hey, we want to honor you, that truly meant a lot because I knew it was real and it was sincere and it wasn't just because I was sitting down there at 1700 West Washington. So thank you for the fight you're continuing. I'm in it with you and let's go. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for your years of service, and give our best to your family. for their years and years, both of service at the state legislature and the state capitol, in the union halls and on the picket lines. Those of you that don't know Rebecca, her Uncle Joe was a steelworker. And I remember we were at the, if I could be so bold, Mr. Chairman, we were at the State Democratic local convention when they were electing a chairperson. And Joe Rios and I were the ones that made sure that the state party had a plain right to organize in their platform. And you wouldn't believe the fight that was. I'll tell you what, when you got Joe Rios and Danny Pollard and others on your side, you don't mind fighting. You got some folks that's got your back, you can fight. And for all of those that have our back, we do appreciate it. At this time, I would like to invite to the podium another new friend from Pinal County. I didn't know Pinal County was just between Maricopa and Pima County. But all of a sudden, I hear this noise out of Pinal County that there's a gentleman running for Congress down there. I said, Roman brought it to my attention. We made some phone calls and we found the county chair. Her name is Lisa Sainer. So would you give a Maricopa County welcome to Pinal County Board of Supervisors? Democratic chair. Come on, welcome her to Maricopa County.
All right, good afternoon. I want to express this gratitude to all of the honorees that have already got their awards. And Ms. Rios, much like you, I'm a little bit more tempered than fire and brimstone, but how about we see if Raquel can follow me? All right. Sometimes, I did call Roberto. Roberto expresses gratitude for this award. He got lost track in time trying to make phone calls for LD7 candidates. So I'll be accepting this award for him, and I will ensure that he receives it. And I'm going to read this little thing like I always would if he was sitting here. So sometimes there are those in our lives who become something more, something profound. Today, I'm deeply honored to introduce a figure of such significance to all of you. In Pinal County, we often refer to this individual as our moral compass, our conscience. This person is not just an example of their working career. This individual has a long history of working in the mining industry, up to 24 years in politics and advocacy. He's just become more. He's become a shining example of advocacy by becoming an unwavering advocate for the issues that matter the most, not just for himself, but for others in their communities. His advocacy work has been diverse and impactful, including service with numerous civic and cultural groups. Among them is the Association for Development of a Better Environment, the Gold Canyon Arts Council, the William Plaza Cultural Center and Museum, the Arizona Hispanic Community Forum, Humane Borders, Arizona Latino Arts and Cultural Center, Raul Castro Institute, Morrison's Institute of Latino Public Policy Center, the Pinal County People Power Project, and the founding president of Somos America, something I do believe Ms. Turan was involved in with as well. The Immigrant Support Collective that organized the April 2006 march with over 200,000 people in attendance, one of the largest civic gatherings in Arizona history. I could go on, and in truth, over the past week, as I've thought about what I wanted to say, I've come to believe that it would be much easier to introduce the governor to all of you than Roberto. I've had difficulty putting into words so that not only you hear, but feel what I believe is this individual's most outstanding achievement, one that will exist and continue to grow for decades to come. Their advocacy and moral character can be found in everything I listed earlier. Still, the most profound is his continued mentorship and guidance to the future leaders of this state, whether they are in advocacy groups or in the political world. There are very likely others in this room, I'm pointing back there, besides myself, who've had the honor of being one of those that he has mentored and continues to do that. So we can become something more. We can do more, and we can achieve more. There is nothing more profound that a leader can do than foster, mentor, and have a hand in developing the next leaders of our state, our advocacy groups, and within our communities. Leaders who can do that are more than just pillars of our communities. They become a legacy. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the part where he's just going to be. Let me introduce you to a man who has built that legacy and continues to do so, that for all of us, so that we, as a collective, can become more.
Wow, no wonder he couldn't get here with all of those. If he spent 5 minutes on each one of them, he'd still be on his way. Amazing, amazing. And the gentleman is 91 years old. So those of if you hear talk about old age, you might want to be careful what you say. I saw a T-shirt recently said, "Don't piss off old people. We didn't get old by being stupid." So maybe being old is not so bad. Certainly this morning before I introduce our next presenter, I had an opportunity to be at the Phoenix VA at 7 o'clock this morning. Going down Grand Avenue, I'm mumbling and groaning and complaining about having to be up at 7 and there's traffic, and I could be home having coffee with a friend, and I walk into that hospital and I take a look around. I'm going, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, maybe I'm not in such bad shape after all. So for all of our veterans here today, I just want to say, stand up. You're a veteran, stand up. Thank you, thank you for everything you've done and everything you're doing. And rest assured that even though sometimes we don't say it enough or don't show it enough, labor loves you, America loves you. After all, you built it, you protect it. It belongs to you, not some guy coming down an escalator in New York City. With that, let me introduce Brother J.J. Stroh to introduce our next honoree. J.J.?
Thank you all. Unfortunately, you got to listen to me. I let my seeing eye dog home. I trained him to read this, and he decided I am. Roman did a good thing before, and I'm going to make fun of it. Detroit, I'm a city kid. I'm from New York. The thing that I like, and you guys have highlighted, is my family in the last 3 generations has over 220 years of public service and military service. I'm proud as hell to do that. I'm proud as hell to be part of that. I wish every family went through this. Most of them, unfortunately, are here now. But with that, I'll stop. Thank you all for joining us here today to acknowledge these outstanding heroes and respected leaders and our nonstop fighters. They've tirelessly sought and fought for fairness and equity for all of Arizona's residents, including us old farts, Danny, you and me, and the working people. I'm extremely proud to be here with these respected leaders as part of the people that are these recipients have helped us through all of their efforts. In my 40 years out here in Arizona on the labor movement, I've seen those efforts in the battles, and it just amazes me that the guts and courage and willingness to go out and get beat up that you guys have. Now I will attempt to be brief. I'm already short, so you get the brief side. Ms. Turan, Rachel, if I may, is another truly amazing Arizona woman, born here in the thriving metropolis of Douglas. Her career really bloomed when she became a shining and effective community organizer fighting those who are against anti-immigration. Raquel has always fought hard, especially opposing and succeeding in ending Senate Bill 1070, Arizona's Show Me Your Papers nonsense. She was also very successful in helping get Russell Pierce recalled. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's where her determination really shines for our democracy and how time flies. Raquel was elected to the House in 2018. Then in 2021, she was elected chair of the Democratic Party here for Arizona. Later that year, she was appointed to the state Senate, filling the seat of retiring Tony Navarro. Next, Raquel served. Should let the dog do it. Rachel was elected to serve as the state minority leader of the Senate. One of our fellow recipients, replacing one of our fellow recipients, the Honorable Judge Rios. Recently, Raquel stepped down from the party chair, later from the Senate Majority Leader position and the Senate, with her intention to run for Arizona District 3 seat. In the U.S. House of Rep, that seat will soon be filled by her, replacing another impressive leader, our Representative Ruben Gallego, who is now running to represent us on the Senate side. So as I review what I've written, I find I am in complete surprise and suspense over these election results. But the upside is it's two more amazing Arizona women. No matter the results, I'm sure we're not going to lose a powerful voice, nor see the last of this Latino dynamo here in AZ. With all that from me, I introduce to all that I am proud to introduce and personally thank Ms. Raquel Terán for all of her efforts, dedication, and we present you with this, our thank you as a public employee.
Thank you for that kind intro. No, I'm not silly, no. Thank you. Oh, do I get it? Oh, all right. I love to wear pins. All right, y'all. I'm really tired, so I'm not my usual self, to be frank, but I'm very excited to be here in community. This is the best way of spending the day with AFSCME members. I'm an AFSCME member myself, and I'm very proud to be part of your union, so thank you so much for welcoming me into this space. And being in community really is important for me at this moment as we're waiting for our votes to be counted. Some of you might have heard that we are only 467 votes away from leading in this race, and I feel really great about the fact that our late earlies will come in support of us. It's the Latino community that votes late sometimes. So y'all remember that we called this campaign a quinceañera, which is like, you all know that when you turn 15 in the Latino community, you have these big ostentatious parties for either a young woman or a young man. And those parties usually happen because the community comes together and chips in whatever they can to support the family to make sure we have these great parties. So that's what we called our campaign. But I mean, today we're here to honor I'm so honored to be in this list. Rebecca, like Jay just said, she was my leader in the Senate, and I admire her. And yeah, maybe what you like when you heard Rebecca speak, you know, everybody listened. Everybody listened. So Rebecca, thank you for your leadership, and of course Steve Gallardo, Supervisor Steve Gallardo. He's amazing, amazing leader. The only Democrat in the Board of Supervisors, but you would think he has a majority because he works so well with the Republicans. So that's a tremendous admiration. And of course, Leila Austin, I also got to serve with her, and Roberto Reveles. He was actually the president of the organization that got me started in Arizona politics, which was Somos America. I got started in Arizona politics because of the need of comprehensive immigration reform. I'm originally from Southern Arizona, grew up on the border, on the street that divides the United States and Mexico. So when I got to see, when I saw the rise of the anti-immigrant sentiment, we've always had it. But after 9/11, there was more. Russell Pierce, Sheriff Arpaio, the propositions were coming left and right, because many times we think about the anti-immigrant sentiment and only think about it as SB 1070, but it was really a buildup. So Roberto Reveles was a leader of a huge march that happened in downtown Phoenix, like Lisa mentioned earlier, and 200,000 people went out to march, and I was turnout for that election. I was not volunteering, I was attending the election, and fortunately, at that March, I was handed a clipboard with voter registration forms from Mi Familia Vota, and Mi Familia Vota was there to make sure that our communities, especially Latino communities, were involved in the decision-making process. And I drank that Kool-Aid. I believe, okay, the theme of that march was today we march, tomorrow we vote. And really, I believe that that was going to be the way for us to transform the political landscape of the state of Arizona. And I'm just so fortunate that Mi Familia Vota was connected to the labor movement. It was an SEIU civic participation program, and I know it's AFSCME and SEIU at a national level. We have there's both are organizers of public sector employees, but I got to understand the work that unions did for the state of Arizona. Because yes, we had the immigrant rights movement, but that immigrant rights movement was standing on the shoulders of working families, of the labor movement that had been organizing for years here in our state, when it's a right to work state. Yet we have these strong unions who have really led the efforts in transforming this political landscape. We know that we stand on the shoulders of the civil rights movement, the farm worker movement. And I am just so proud that I got to connect with this organization that was connected to labor, and that I learned the importance of making sure that we built power by organizing in the workplace. And I'm so grateful. Roman, I am looking at you because I was a spunky organizer. I probably couldn't give a clear message, but I was still being invited to the Voice of Democracy shows. We were working around holding Sheriff Joe Arpaio accountable, Maricopa Citizens for Safety and Accountability. That was the name that we gave our organization. Oh, and there's Darlene too, who was also the Voice of Democracy. And I was invited as a young person who was barely starting. And so it's so important that when we see new talent, that we actually are developing and that we're giving that space. And for me, I feel all the gratitude in the world for organizations like AFSCME Retirees, and many others who opened the doors for somebody like me who grew up in Agua Prieta, not connected with labor, but had all the ganas, all the willingness to want to do something for our communities. And at the end of the day, we all know that none of the work that's done here in Arizona is done in isolation. It's always in coalition. And as I've progressed in my journey of organizing and the state legislature, and as the chair of the Arizona Democratic Party, I've always had the fortune to count with AFSCME Retirees with checks, because and I'm mindful that it's everybody who's giving their dues, and it costs so much to build up those checks, but you all have been investors of money, but you have also been investors of time. And at the end of the day, we would not have a Democratic U.S. Senator. We have a non-Democratic U.S. Senator, whatever we want to call the other person. Kirsten Sinema, she was independent, but at the time, we elected a Democratic U.S. Senator. We re-elected Senator Mark Kelly. We elected a Democratic governor, a Democratic Secretary of State, a Democratic Attorney General. Historic victories. None of them would have been possible if it wasn't for the investment, financial investment, because I know that we were getting checks of $250,000 for each of these races that were key. And I will never forget that, the way that you all stood by the Arizona Democratic Party to make sure that we were successful last election cycle. So I'm hopeful today in the afternoon we'll have good results. It will be a very tight race. I'm going to be leaving the hall as soon as I'm done speaking, because I have to go cure ballots. We have to make sure every ballot is counted. But I'm optimistic that we will get through the finish line and then move on to make sure that we have victories all the way from the top of the ticket to the bottom of the ticket, because we need to make sure that we have legal and safe abortion for all the people of the state of Arizona that need one, and so many things in between, like the county races, etc. And last, Commissioner Kennedy is here in the room, and Casey Allmeister. A big shout out to the commissioners, the leaders. I know, I saw that we have a tremendous list, and she's one of them. So thank you, muchas gracias, and let's go make it happen. Thank you.
I don't know, Brother Chairman, but I don't think we can stand to get Steve Gallardo and her in the same room once or twice a week. So at this time, I'm going to deviate from the printed program just a little bit in order to bring up our Brother Ron Williams one more time to the microphone. Brother, if you would, please. Give him a hand. He is a member of the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame.
Well, true to my word, and when I spoke about Senator Kennedy earlier, the commitment to the people, her husband's in the hospital. They took her to the hospital, and she was going to do her best to get here. Ladies and gentlemen, she's here. Let's bring her out. Senator Kennedy, come on up.
Thank you for allowing me just a few minutes. My husband has a pacemaker and I think the wiring has come loose. So he's gonna be okay, we have faith. But I just wanted to just say thank you for all the years that you have supported me. We've been in some good fights, we've been, some good trouble. Some good trouble. But just thank you, and please forgive my tardiness. And the traffic out there is horrendous this time of afternoon, trying to get from Scottsdale all the way over here. But I am just blessed and honored to be in the room of people who thought enough of me to support me in the many years that I served, the many years that I ran for, whether it was the House, the Senate, school board, and even the Arizona Corporation Commission. Thank you so much, and I love you.
Yeah, they want pictures. Thank you.
Having a senator in our house does bring back some memories. We had some battles, some good trouble, as she put it. We had some good trouble inside the Democratic Party at one time too. So, but where the battles are, we choose to fight them. And she was and is and always will be a true fighter, and a fighter for working families, and a fighter for organized labor. Thank you, Senator. And the Old Country Board from Mississippi. This time I would like to bring up our sister Liz Baracchio for a special presentation.
It's my show.
Okay, so we all know this honoree extremely well. Some of you have known him for a few years, while others have known him for decades. Many of you call him brother. I've got you all beat, as I've known him my entire life. So let me tell you a little bit about my dad. Roman Ullman was a public employee his entire career. First working as a port clerk for the city of Detroit, Danny. Then as a mayoral appointee for the Detroit Civic Center and the Public Lighting Department. He facilitated changes to help the public and his fellow employees by making many improvements in each of those departments. And he mentored a lot of people along the way. In addition to working as a public employee, Roman put himself through college to provide a better life for his family. He had opportunities to work at the Michigan State Capitol, in Washington, D.C., and even overseas, but he didn't want to leave his wife and 4 kids and uproot his family. So while living in Detroit, Roman was elected or appointed to serve on boards of community colleges, universities, community organizations and newspapers, church councils, and unions. In every capacity, he's facilitated change when change was needed. He's always been an advocate, and again, he was a mentor for a lot of people. Roman retired 31 years ago and moved to Arizona. While he retired from the city of Detroit, he didn't retire from community activism. Unlike many retirees that travel, golf, pick up new hobbies, Roman got involved in his community. That was his hobby, affecting change. He's been a devoted community activist his entire life, working tirelessly to improve his city, county, state, and country, helping to elect candidates that fight for workers' rights, protect our families, and democracy as a whole. Roman has also been hosting radio shows for 18 years now, educating listeners on current events and the importance of democracy. And I've had the privilege to sit next to him for some of those shows. Tapping into his experiences as a lifetime public employee helps him really connect with people. Roman has been the elected president of AFSCME Arizona Retirees Chapter 97 for over 10 years now, leading the fight for real retirement security by protecting and expanding the benefits and rights of retired public employees and seniors as a whole. And for the last several years, I've had the honor of serving with him on the board. Family means everything to him, and Roman has followed in his parents' footsteps, fighting for freedom and helping his fellow human. Working tirelessly to make this world a better place for his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and all of those that come after us. I'm so proud of my father's dedication and commitment as a public employee and a lifetime community activist. Join me with AFSCME Arizona Retirees in congratulating my dad and presenting Roman Ullman with the Public Employee Appreciation Award.
I could not be more proud of my daughter, all my children, grandchildren, than I am today. And I have this saying, when I didn't even understand what the hell people were talking about, my grandfather once told me, he worked in the Scranton, Pennsylvania coal mines, then he went back to Poland to build a democracy, only to have war steal that democracy from the Polish people. But he told me, you have to have a union because the foreman might have a daughter that gets married and her husband may need a job and you will be out of a job unless you have a union to protect your rights. That's before I even knew what the hell he was talking about. And then both of my parents were UAW members. And I was a union member my entire life. But the thing that I'm also very, very pleased of is Liz is a AFSCME member. My youngest daughter is an owner of a beauty shop, but she's also an IATSE union member. And this makes me feel so good that my kids are carrying on the traditions that I'm carrying on for my parents and my grandparents. I have a saying that those who came before us, we follow in their footsteps and we stand on their shoulders. And the only way that I can really make my unfortunately deceased family members proud of me is if they can be taking comfort that I, for one, have followed in their footsteps and stood on their shoulders, because that way I honor what they did for us. when my family fought in the partisans against the Germans, to have the Russians move in and take over a country and we lose the democracy, I'm not going to let that happen here in the United States. One thing that I know for a fact, if all women vote for their rights instead of some stupid philosophy, we're going to win this election. If all minorities vote for their rights, we're going to win this election. And those people who are coming across our border are only doing what all of our forefathers and grandfathers and grandmothers did before us. Amen. They are here because America was the shining light. They are here not for some sort of out-of-turn chance. There is no policy to follow. So they're just trying to get here like everybody else did. I thought it was funny when I saw this comment on Facebook. The Democratic Party knows where we stand. The Republican Party is now going to have to decide if they're going to deport all of these people, because they're going to have to start deporting their family members. Because the big problem they face is, which women do they deport and which ones do they marry? It doesn't. Yeah. This is a very difficult situation for them. We don't have to make these decisions because we already know that we are all members of the same family, the human family. Let's love one another and help one another because that's what working people do. And my daughter and my whole family continues in that tradition, and I am so, so proud of them. Thank you very much. Oh, very quickly, I take special privilege. I know she's not on the program, but I want to introduce my candidate for the state legislature, Helen Hunter. Another wonderful member of the human family. Thank you.
So everybody sees this box everyone got, right? Well, it's pretty cool. So, yeah. It's coffee, water, but it's on here. Arizona AFSCME Retirees. It has their last name and the initial. Thank you, Roman, or whoever else got one, and with the date. So, thank you so much for all you do.
It also has down below the Union Bug. Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna put this back together. There you go. Okay, don't no one leave yet. Don't leave. Don't leave.
Point of order.
My brother, go ahead.
This is a star-studded list we have here. Very star-studded list. Like you mentioned earlier, we forgot something. Sometimes we have events and we can't acknowledge everybody. We cannot leave this room
Brother, come to the podium so everybody can hear you,
acknowledging
please.
this special person to the public employees, especially for the city of Peoria, and actually for the state of Arizona for years. I've been an AFSCME member for 22 years. I started in the city of Peoria. And for every good man, there's always a solid woman behind him. Repeat that, ladies. For every good man, there's a solid woman behind him. The woman that stood behind me in my union drive and support is Fran Kruger Murphy. I want to acknowledge you as a public servant to the city and to the state, and we need to acknowledge you in a special honor and privilege tonight. We have a tribute to you for everything you've done for us in Peoria. You provided the safety and security to keep me out of jail as being a union president, as being a treasurer. It's always a pleasure to have someone to manage the money and keep you on track. And I've been privileged. My dad has supported me, Roman Almo, for all you who don't know, that is my dad. He raised me up in the union on what to do, what not to do, how to stay out of trouble, and how to get into trouble. Because he does that well. Get into trouble and stay out of trouble. With that, the union has groomed me up to the man that I am to support my community for the rest of my life. Thank you all for your support. Get up there. You thought you'd get away from me, huh? You thought I wouldn't get you back, huh?
No.
I got you. This, if you give me this.
You have to say something.
Yes.
Something.
Yes.
It's been an honor to work with City of Peoria, helping Walter out, and being the treasurer of the retirees. Roman's been great. Known him for 25 years, and it's been an honor to be part of the union. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with that, I'm happy to report that the first annual tribute to public employees is now adjourned. Maybe not, maybe not.
I believe in God, and when people say there is no God, I say prove it, and they can't prove it. So therefore, in the tradition of all our working families, I want to call on Darlene Martinez to close this event with a prayer. Darlene?
All right. Okay, move on to it for a moment, please. He said that exactly. Dear Lord, Creator, Father, we ask that you bless everyone in this room and everyone that is connected to this world, that connects through all of us, because it does. All the men and women through all the unions throughout the world that have done so much to help protect us. We watch over us, and we ask that you bless everyone. God bless America. Amen. Amen.
Chairperson O'Neill, did you wish to make a few comments? Talk about Maricopa County? And I failed to do so earlier in the program, but thank you for being here. Thank you.
I didn't expect this. Chairman Supervisor Gallardo, he's going to be the next chairman of the Board of Supervisors. This county, oh yeah, this county is committed. We are committed in flipping the Board of Supervisors, so that you just touched my heart when you said that, you know, we flipped the Board of Supervisors. We could potentially give working families a place to work, a good place to work. And I just thank you, and I'll be there helping you. And we have the opportunity of electing Tim Stringham, and we need to. He's with County Recorder. We have an election denier. Get everybody up to vote, because that is where it's dangerous. They've been gunning for that position, and we are working hard, and we're working closely with union and labor, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Again, as we leave, let me thank Local 2960 staff, officers. I saw Brother Frank Petroli walking through a few minutes ago. If you would give him our heartfelt thanks for the use of the hall, everything you do to help the retirees, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a safe journey home.